evening and welcome once again to Matters of Faith. Ever since the Enlightenment in Europe, that is, since the advent of modernity, it has been fondly believed that the rational certitude of science would deliver humanity from the constricting shackles of faith. Scientific pursuit was placed in opposition to the spiritual quest. What we have discovered later, however, is that the poetic insight of the saint is merely confirmed by the plodding proofs of the scientists. Geneticists, for instance, now tell us that the life matter which animates a human being is no different from that which animates a leaf. But had not Jalaluddin Rumi articulated the same truth when he said, "I died a mineral and became a plant. I died a plant and rose an animal. I died an animal and I was a man. Why should I fear? When was I less by dying? Yet once more I shall die as man to soar with the blessed angels. But even from angelhood I must pass on. All except God perishes." While there can be no denying that faith is at the root of some of history's most unspeakable cruelties, and science was merely a tool in the process, equally there can be no denying that it is faith which enables human beings to rise above themselves. As Rumi says, "When I have sacrificed my angel soul, I shall become that which no mind ever conceived. Oh, let me exist, for non-existence proclaims, to him we shall return." And surely it is faith and not science that inspires human beings to soar to heights of compassion, generosity, tolerance, and kindness. A vivid example of this is offered to us at the Golden Temple in Amritsar, which we visit tonight in our Pilgrim's Progress segment.
The Golden Temple, the holiest of the Sikh holy shrines, is an overwhelming union of natural power and human aspiration. In the 16th century, the second Guru of the Sikhs, Guru Angad, was afflicted with a troublesome skin disease. His doctors had given up all hopes of curing him, until they discovered a medicinal herb on the banks of a small lake. The effect of this herb was immediate and permanent. In grateful recognition of its therapeutic qualities, Guru Angad christened the lake Amrit Sarovar, the Lake of Ambrosia. A later Guru, Guru Ramdas, built his residence here and dredged up the lake so that he could build a spiritual retreat on the island thus created. In 1588, Guru Arjan, the fifth Guru, started mobilizing the energies of the Panth to build the temple, which was completed 13 years later. The Adi Granth was placed here in 1604 and the temple was christened Harmandir Sahib. On several occasions during the 18th century, Afghan invaders ravaged the temple and its treasures. Maharaja Ranjit Singh, founder of the great Sikh Empire, undertook the reconstruction of the temple with a personal donation of 5 lakh rupees. By 1830, the temple was completely reconstructed and transformed and had assumed its new name, the Swarn Mandir, the Golden Temple. The architecture of the Golden Temple is a mixture of Hindu and Muslim styles. The gilded dome is supposed to represent an inverted lotus. The inversion of the lotus is meant to anchor the Sikh Panth firmly in the world of men, to remind the faithful that the path to redemption is inseparable from a life of hard work, good deeds and compassionate behavior. The 4 doorways of the Swarn Mandir are said to symbolize the complete lack of discrimination between castes in the Sikh faith, the fact that it is open to all. Access to the temple from the parikrama is obtained by a causeway with Darshan Deori. The air is rent with the intoxicating chanting of priests reading from the Granth Sahib. Devotees squeezed into little niches on the upper level of the temple read from their own copies of the holy book or offer litanic responses to the priest's chants. Meanwhile, on the lower level, worshippers file past the Granth Sahib in reverent silence, then scoop water from the sacred sarovar in their hands before wending their way out in an orderly line. As they come off the bridge, they prostrate before extending their hands to the sevak, who distributes an exquisitely tasty prasad. Twice every day, the Holy Granth Sahib is taken in a procession. At 4 a.m., the sacred book travels from the Akal Takht, the seat of Sikh temporal power, to the Swarn Mandir, where it is worshipped through the day until 10 p.m, when it is restored to the Akal Takht. In the true tradition of Sikhism, a great part of the management of the shrine is carried out by sevaks, volunteers. Unlike other shrines, there are no intermediaries dogging the devotee's steps, promising direct dialogue with the divine for a price. Here, each pilgrim enters, perambulates, prays, proffers dakshina and leaves on his own terms. This is an experience that ennobles and empowers the devout.
Faith pervades all aspects of human life and activity in India. The most commonplace and everyday act, object or transaction is invested with divine significance. All that is created, whether animate or inanimate, is believed to be a fragment of that larger essence which governs the universe. The principle extends to human acts as well, especially those performed within one's home. From the food cooked in the kitchen to the crop produced in the field, everything is dedicated to the Almighty. One such everyday prayer in homes in Tamil Nadu is the kolam, which we discover today in our myriad part segment.
Tamil Nadu's temple architecture is justly famous. But so taken are we sometimes with the splendor of these shrines that we neglect the signs of faith of ordinary people. Signs that touch one by their simplicity, their unaffected beauty, their complete integration with the lives and lifestyles of the residents of Tamil Nadu. One such sign is the kolam, the floor decorations that are drawn each day before every home and place of worship, whether it is a simple puja room in a home or a magnificent temple. The kolam, like wall and floor decorations elsewhere in India, is an exclusive feminine preserve. From an early age, women are taught how to draw kolams. They begin with simple intersecting line patterns and then graduate to elaborate floral and intertwining motifs. Rarely, if ever, are kolams actually used as a means to represent any but celluloid gods. However, every kolam is in a sense dedicated to the divinities. Kolams are most elaborate during the two harvesting months of Adi, July-August, and Margazi, December-January. While every day, kolams are most often drawn in white rice powder, on special occasions such as Pongal or Varusha Pirapu, the Tamil New Year's Day, brightly colored powders are also used. The kolam, like the Chitta art of Odisha or the Rangoli of Maharashtra and Karnataka, is a daily prayer painted in honor of Lakshmi. It wards off evil spirits and ensures peace and prosperity within each home. Each day, when it is erased and redrawn, usually before the break of dawn, it becomes a charged metaphor for destruction and renewal. It is an acknowledgement of the materiality of the universe and at the same time a recognition of the essential transience of the material, an application of what the Bhagavad Gita says. As a man casts off worn-out garments and takes others that are new, so does the embodied soul cast off its worn-out bodies and enter into others that are new. The kolam is even looked upon as a manner of communicating with all of nature. As the powder used to draw a kolam is made from powdered rice, birds and ants feed off it, making it a sort of a jivadiya, an act of generosity and compassion. Kolams are so essential a part of Tamil Nadu's culture that they have cut across all barriers of caste and creed. Muslims, Christians and Hindus alike engage in this daily and united salute to the Almighty. Kolam is a daily affirmation of the spirit behind the ancient prayer, "Thou art everywhere, but I worship Thee here. Thou art without form, but I worship Thee in these forms. Thou needest no praise, yet I offer Thee these prayers and salutations."
Ram is the greatest of India's mythological figures. Valmiki describes him as an ensemble of diverse, auspicious qualities who incarnates high integrity and beneficence to all. No divinity inspires a greater variety of musical worship than Rama does. In our sadhana segment tonight, we take a look at the Borgit of Assam, a musical veneration of the great king of Ayodhya.
Of all the gods in the Hindu pantheon, Vishnu attracts the most ardent worship. In order to fulfill his mission as preserver and protector of the universe, Vishnu is believed to have assumed several avatars or incarnations. And no such avatar is more beloved than Rama. Brahma himself is said to have told Valmiki, "As long as mountains stand and rivers flow, so long will the story of Rama's heroic deeds be told and cherished on earth." An echo of Brahma's sentiments is to be heard even today in the Borgit of Assam. Borgit, which celebrate the life and deeds of the great king of Ayodhya, were devised by Mahapurush Shankaradeva, the great 16th century social, religious and cultural reformer who gave Assam its literature, drama, poetry, dance and music. His compositions, as well as those of his disciple Sri Madhavadeva, are the core and foundation of this form of music, which is set to various classical rags peculiar to Vaishnavite music in Assam. After the sun has gone down, after another back-breaking day's work in the fields has been done, after attending to all their routine domestic duties, the women of rural Assam gather in little clusters to sing in praise of Rama. The Borgit is an exclusively feminine preserve. With the exception of a single priest, no other man is allowed to participate in the musical worship. Why and how this musical ceremony became an exclusive feminine preserve is not clear. At any rate, it gives the women of rural Assam a unique means to reach out and bond with one another. It brings them together in a sort of sisterhood of worship. It enables them to celebrate jointly the qualities and the bounties of Rama.
To the poet, to the philosopher, to the saint, says Emerson, all things are friendly and sacred, all events profitable, all days holy, all men divine. Emerson may well have been speaking of Tyagaraja, the great South Indian saint. Poetry, philosophy and bhakti came together in Tyagaraja's music. Music to Tyagaraja was neither a passion nor a profession. It was his very being. In our great visionary segment tonight, we take a look at his life and deeds.
The Kaveri Delta was a major cultural center during the time of the Maratha Rajas who ruled over Thanjavur from the 17th to the 19th centuries. Poets, musicians and scholars from all over India congregated here and enjoyed the Raja's patronage. In 1767, to one such musician, the Telugu Brahmin Rama Brahmam, was born the child who was later to become the foremost saint poet of the South, Tyagaraja. Tyagaraja's disciples have left accounts of the family's genteel poverty. Life centered around the Kaveri. Every morning, the saint would rise, walk down to the ghats, have his bath and perform the Sandhya Vandana. Then he would sit by the river and sing. Sing in praise of his beloved Ishtadevta, Rama. So immersed indeed was he in his Ram Bhakti that he had neither the time nor the inclination to discharge his worldly duties. When hunger overtook him, Tyagaraja would walk around the village's Brahmin quarter, the Agrahara, literally singing for his supper. A host of disciples would accompany him, dutifully recording the thousands of compositions that sprang from Tyagaraja's lips. His disciples tell us that the kritis were in such perfect meter and rhyme that Saraswati herself may have composed them. Singing songs in praise of Rama did not enable the saint to meet his material needs. The proceeds from his daily unchavriti, or ritual begging, were his sole contribution to the joint family. This brought him into conflict with his brother. Characteristically, Tyagaraja's response to his brother was musical. The composition in Kalyani, Nidhi Sala Sukama, Our Wealth and Property Happiness? It is said the brother did not react kindly to this philosophical jest. He stowed the idols of Rama and Sita from Tyagaraja's puja room and flung them into the Kaveri. A cascade of doleful compositions followed this outrage, as the inconsolable poet implored Rama to come to his rescue. Legend has it that finally Rama appeared to the saint in a dream and indicated the exact spot in the Kaveri where he would find the idols. Tyagaraja hastened to the river, plunged in and emerged overjoyed with his beloved Rama and Sita in hand, and celebrated the reunion with the rousing lilt of Kanugontini, I have found thee in Bilahari. Stories are told too of other miracles that occurred in Tyagaraja's life. Stories of how temple doors would open miraculously at his bidding. Stories of how Rama appeared in the dream of a wealthy merchant in a distant town and ordered the merchant to give his son in marriage to the daughter of Tyagaraja. The song Samanam Evaru Rama, Ni Samanam Evaru, Who is thy equal Rama, who, is believed to have been composed by the grateful saint musician when the marital alliance was concluded. Tyagaraja died in January 1847. His death anniversary is commemorated each year by musicians from across the country who congregate at his samadhi and collectively interpret his masterpiece, the Pancharatna Kritis. In Tyagaraja's musical compositions, bhakti runs like a river in spate, awesome in its power, contemptuous of any attempt to harness it. It gives his kritis a wealth of feeling, of experience, the vibrant breath of an ongoing dialogue with God. The thousands of songs he wrote spring from the joy and anguish, the delicious suffering of the true bhakta, who is granted occasional and ecstatic union with God, but denied the capacity to do away with the banal materiality of his present existence.
Faith, we do not tire of saying, is eternal and undying. Yet, have you ever wondered why it should give rise to so much conflict, hatred, and bloodshed? Could it be because we often confuse faith with worship? Worship is culture-specific. Faith transcends cultures. Worship is contained within religion. Faith is larger than religion. Worship is when we do as others do. Faith is the barely audible call of an inner voice. Worship can be offered by the individual, as well as by large groups acting as one. Faith is only to be found in the solitude of the human heart. Worship without faith is the empty execution of a social ritual. Faith does not need worship for survival. Ideally, faith and worship must be welded as one. Then we will realize that though modes of worship differ from one group to another, from one individual to another, faith remains unique, indivisible, and common to all. Thank you for watching Matters of Faith. Do let us have your reactions to this program, and join us again next week.